It's coffee time, it's coffee time, it's the One Pot Chef drinking coffee and time. What do you think of it so far? Rubbish. Welcome to a special Christmas edition of Coffee Time, the monthly chat show here on the One Pot Chef blog where I answer questions sent in by you. Now, if you've got any questions for the next edition of Coffee Time, which will be on in the new year, all you need to do is leave them in the comment section underneath this video on YouTube. Now, before we get started, should you hear any loud squawking pterodactyl-like noises in the background, I apologise. Unfortunately, the entire neighbourhood has been invaded by giant squawking cockatoos, which are these big white and yellow birds here in Australia, which have decided that this neighbourhood is absolutely where they need to be. They are very loud. They're kind of quiet at the moment, but only a few minutes ago they were going absolutely crazy, so if you hear that in the background, I'm trying to contain the noise as much as possible, but unfortunately I've got a really good microphone on this camera and it will probably pick them up quite loudly. Alright, let's get into the questions. First question comes from Light Lunch Boy, and the question is, if you watched it, who was your favourite Desperate Housewife and why? I watched the first few seasons of Desperate Housewives, but I kind of lost interest in it. Like, it was kind of okay the first couple of years, but then it started to get a bit sort of weird for me. So, I kind of liked Brie. Only because, like, I like anyone who tries to sort of, like, put this facade of sort of class and elegance and then, like, behind the scenes is just absolutely tearing themselves apart. And I think that's sort of an interesting character dichotomy. I think that's good. So I also like that other woman that I can't remember the character's name because it's been so many years, but Felicity Huffman's character. I liked her attitude. I liked her spunk. I thought she was really fun to watch. Ali Olves, I hope I'm saying that right. How do Australians celebrate Christmas? What do you do and traditionally eat? Well, I can't speak for all Australians because a lot of Australians do different things on Christmas. Some people have the traditional Christmas lunch with the turkey and stuff, or they have it as a traditional dinner. Some people will go completely in the opposite direction. They'll go for a more sort of Aussie barbecue type thing. Some people like to go to the beach for Christmas. They'll go and have lunch at the beach and they'll go and have a swim and sort of enjoy the fact that Christmas is in summer, because obviously we don't get snow here because it's not winter. Or other people do completely different things altogether. I mean, there are so many different options. In my family, what we do is we have Christmas lunch. We have the traditional things like turkey and ham and all that sort of stuff, but we tend to have them cold. We have them as cold cuts. We slice up them, we cook the meat beforehand and then have them cold. But we also have the hot roast potatoes, we have salads, we have seafood, we have all sorts of different things like that. So it's quite a lot of fun, to be honest. It's a bit of a mixture of traditions because, like, in the end, it's nice to have the turkey and stuff, but the fact is when it's pushing 40 degrees Celsius, nearly 100 degrees Fahrenheit, you don't necessarily want to be roasting a turkey. So it's kind of sort of like mixing traditions to adapt to the area. Let's see, Kandan Shuba. I have a couple of questions to ask. First, how old are you when you first visited the UK? And secondly, would you consider opening people to make the intro and send it in like the Frank's A show? Finally, I heard you say you had issues with your website and were looking for a new host. Now, this was last month, but if this is still an issue, you might want to look into Squarespace. Okay, the issue with the website is resolved, in as much that I'm not reopening it. Basically, for the moment, I don't think it's necessary. I think it's sort of, I'd sooner direct people to the YouTube channel, the cooking channel, rather than directing them to a separate website that directs them to the YouTube channel. So I think I'm just cutting out a bit of work there that really isn't necessary. I've still got OnePotChefShow.com as a domain, and I'm using it as a redirect to the cooking channel. But yeah, I've decided I don't think for the moment that it's really necessary to have a separate website for the time being, but I will sort of reassess that in a few months and see, like, if I need to do something else or if I want to come up with a different idea. So yeah. What was the other questions there? How old I when I visited the UK? Oh, I went there a couple of times as a child. The first time would have been when I was about 6 or 7, roughly, just as I was sort of, yeah, probably around about that age. And then again a couple of years later. So it was a long time ago. Would you consider opening people to make the intro and send it in like Zavrank's A show? I don't know what that is. I'm sorry, I can't. I've never heard of Zavrank or A show. I've had a couple of people offer to do the intro for Coffee Time before, but when I've changed the intro, people have kind of been I don't know how to put this. There have been a lot of people who have strongly objected to anything that's even slightly different, which is why I'm really worried, because I've actually changed the intro for this one because I wanted to do something slightly different, because I've been using the same intro for a while. But yeah, I hadn't really considered sort of getting other people to do it for me, so it's something to think about. Mad Mullet 1990. Do you buy lots of presents for your loved ones on Christmas or give them cash in cards? Well, in our family, we actually don't do the whole present thing. We do it for like the kids, for my grandnephew, who's pretty much the only child who's sort of there for Christmas these days. He's 4. But basically for everyone else, because we've got a fairly big family that gets together, it's a little unrealistic to be sort of buying tons and tons of presents for each person. So what we tend to do is that we will do Christmas cards with scratch lotteries inside them. And what we do is we all sort of exchange the scratchies, and it's become a bit demented at Christmas, actually. It's now become where we all sit around scratching these scratchies before lunch to see who gets the most winnings, and whoever gets the most winnings wins Christmas. And it's become a bit of a blood sport in our family, so it's quite fun. I once won Christmas. I got about $300 out of my scratching, so I was quite happy with that. But then there are some years where I win absolutely nothing, and I lose Christmas, so... I know this probably to outsiders that sounds really demented, but that's what we do, and it's economical because we only have to spend, like, say, $10 on each person. We're not having to spend hours and hours going around trying to find perfect gifts for every person. Frankly, it makes a lot of sense, and we quite enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, and so that's what we do, and that's sort of how we go. I, of course, still buy gifts for my grandnephew, and that's the only real sort of Christmas shopping I do now, which sort of makes things nice and quick when it comes to the Christmas shopping sales. So, yeah. Next one. Vidlora Oh, don't worry about pronouncing my nickname. Oh, how kind of you. Question. What was the best Christmas present you got, and what was the best received present you gave? It's a difficult question because, as I say, I haven't given away Christmas presents for a very, very long time, with the exception of my nephew, and pretty much anything you give a 4-year-old is going to be sort of well received. As for the best present I've ever received at Christmas, I don't know. I'd have to go back to my childhood, and I can't quite remember what I got as a kid, so it's too long ago. I would imagine it was something Doctor Who-ish, because I know when I was absolutely Doctor Who nuts when I was a kid, and if I got anything that has had the Doctor Who logo on it, I would go absolutely ape over that, so it was probably that. D. Delilah M. If you could have one personal wish for Christmas, what would it be? Oh, this is going to be so selfish, but if I had one personal wish for Christmas, it would be to not hear any Christmas carols at all, because I cannot stand them. In Australia, for some reason, the retail shops have got it into their heads that Christmas begins in August, or sometimes even July. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, they've got the Christmas fruit mince tarts and puddings and all that sort of stuff start creeping into the shops in around about August, and that's when they start putting the Christmas decorations up, and that's when they start putting the Christmas trees up, and that's when they start playing the bloody Christmas carols. And so I remember when I was working in a supermarket years ago, I was working on the checkout, and I had one of these audio speakers directly above me, and I remember Christmas Eve working there for 12 hours straight, listening to the same 5 Christmas songs over and over and over on a loop. I wanted to suffocate myself afterwards because I was absolutely, it was driving me nuts. And ever since that event, I just can't stand Christmas carols. So it probably makes me a bit of a bar humbug because I must admit I am a bit of the anti-Claus these days. I'm not a big fan of Christmas, but I think it's mainly because I see Christmas as a bit of a children's holiday, and since I don't have a lot of children in my life anymore, I don't really get into the spirit of things anymore. But that being said, I'm not advocating the extermination of anyone who actually likes Christmas. I'm just sort of saying that Christmas carols I could do without. I'm very glad that we don't have door-to-door carolers in this country. That generally doesn't happen because I think I'd turn the hose on them. Okay, next question comes from Frank Rotondo. What is your favourite Italian dish, and when are you and your better half coming to Florida, that is the west coast of Florida, Gulf side? I would love to come to Florida. I would love to come over to America again. I had such a great time earlier this year in Los Angeles. It was just such a shame I didn't get to stay there for longer and do a bit more exploring. I reckon Brian and I would love to come to Florida. It would be great to go over there. I'd like to go and see the house where the Golden Girls were, but I'm betting that's in Los Angeles. No, I've heard that Florida has a great combination of foods down there because, I mean, you've got a lot of that strong Latin American influence in the cuisine, so I would love to check that sort of stuff out because, unfortunately, a lot of that doesn't exist in Australia, and so it's all very alien to me, and I would love to experience those things. As for my favourite Italian dish, I don't know. You'd be pretty hard-pressed going past something simple. I mean, I love the simplicity of just pasta with a nice cream sauce on it, something like Alfredo, but I love a good lasagna. Basically anything like that would be great, but like but for sheer simplicity, like Alfredo, I love to just chuck it together. It's done in like 10 minutes, and it's just absolutely divine. So that would probably be my choice. Joe Than A. Hey David, just a quick question. What is your opinion on Pink Floyd? Oh God, I knew this was coming. I knew after I made the comment about Pink Floyd in the last video, I was never going to hear the end of it. Pass. For those of you who missed the last video, I was talking about how my partner is obsessed with Pink Floyd and Queen, which I used to like Pink Floyd and Queen until he started playing them over and over and over again for the last decade, and now I can't stand either of them. I think it's a repeat of the Christmas Carol thing. Oliver Twist. Questions are, have you ever tried any Arabian Gulf dishes such as the UAE Kuwaiti? And if so, any particular ones you liked? What does the day in the life of the One Pot Chef span out to be? Okay, I don't think I've tried much from the Arabian Gulf sort of area. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot of, say, Kuwaiti restaurants or anything like that nearby, and I'm not very familiar with sort of food from that area, but I like a bit of Moroccan cuisine, which I know isn't the exact same area, but we get a bit of Moroccan around here, and I've been quite happy with that. So if it's similar to that, I would be quite happy to try it. So I must sort of investigate and see what you guys like to eat in the Arabian Gulf. I should definitely try that out. What does a day in the life of the One Pot Chef span out to be? Oh God, it depends. On a filming day, it usually starts fairly early. I'll be up fairly early in the morning, like 6 a.m. or so. I'll go and make my first cup of coffee for the day, and I'll sit down right where I am right now, and I'll start going through the video comments from the day before, emails, tweets, Facebook messages, all of that stuff. It usually takes an hour or two most mornings. I usually do that pretty much every morning. If I've got a video going live on YouTube, I will go and sort out all the links on various websites so they're up and live and done, uploading photos to Instagram, to Facebook, to Twitter, all that sort of behind the scenes stuff that most people don't actually get to see me doing. That's all the stuff I tend to do. Usually by about 10 a.m. or so, I'm pretty much done with that. I'll go and get myself ready. I'll go and prep all the stuff for the kitchen. So I'll go and clean up the kitchen, get all the equipment that I need out, prep the food, all sort of bits and pieces, the ingredients, make sure I've got everything. Set up the camera, set up the lighting, make sure everything's working and ready to go. I'll start filming usually within probably about 11:30ish by now or so. Depending on what videos I'm making, I usually only make one at a time. Sometimes I'll do two, so I could be filming for anywhere up to 2 to 3 hours, sometimes longer. At which point I'll clean up the kitchen, put everything away, take the camera back here, I'll transfer the footage onto the computer, usually start doing the editing again, get that sort of all sorted out, start transcoding the video so it's ready for upload, get all the supplemental stuff to go with it. So I've got to go and do my images, like photographs of the food, clean up the images so they look nice and pretty when I upload them, do all the text to go with it, so there's text on the videos that upload underneath, like the description and the tags and all that sort of stuff. So usually by then it's about 5 or 6 p.m. and I'm absolutely buggered, so I'll go and have my dinner and collapse into a chair and relax for a while. So that's pretty much one of my working days. It's a long day and there's a lot of stuff going on, and I tell you what, it sounds exhausting, and it is, but it's a lot of fun, so I enjoy it. Let's see, next question. Where were we? Oh, I've lost now. Okay, oh yes, Gaming Tips and News asks, what do you think of the song called The Fox? Also, have you ever tasted green tea flavoured Kit Kats? Green tea flavoured Kit Kats? I've never heard of that. That's so weird. That being said, I'm sort of constantly astonished at these strange flavours of candy bars from overseas, because, yeah, like, some of them are just combinations you wouldn't... I like green tea and Kit Kats, I would never have considered that. Excuse me. No coffee today because it is extraordinarily hot. It's like probably about 36 degrees at the moment. It's only just coming into sort of the midday at this point, so whew, I'm hot. Thank God for the fan above me. What was the other question? What did you think about the song called The Fox? Oh God, that is so irritating, that thing. What does the fox say? I'm sorry, but that's not music. I refuse to accept that as being music, so move on. Mondo471. Quick question. You said you have made roast beef in a slow cooker before. What is the best way, in your opinion, to go about this? Maybe you could do a video for this if there isn't one already. I have a slow cooker that doesn't get used very often, and your beef dish sounds so yummy. Roasting meat in a slow cooker is surprisingly simple. What you do, I have done a pot roast in a slow cooker, but basically it applies to pretty much any kind of roasting meat you want. So with roast beef, what you do is you will get a bit of seasoned flour, that's flour with some salt and pepper in, and just basically roll the beef in it and make sure it's nicely coated. And we're going to sear the beef in a fry pan with a little bit of oil in it on all sides, just to get that nice sort of brownness and colour on the outside. You don't need to actually seal it in or anything like that, but we're just basically getting some colour on it, getting a bit crisp on the outside. You're obviously not going to cook it all the way through, it's just to get the colour on there. Transfer it into the slow cooker, add about a cup of beef stock, pop it in, add your vegetables in, put the lid on, and then just basically set it to low for about 7 to 8 hours, or until it's cooked all the way through and it's nice and tender, and you've got roast beef and veggies ready to go. Simple as. I do it all the time. I do it with roast chicken, I do it with roast lamb. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it's so simple to do, and literally once you shoved it into the pot, you can just walk away. You don't have to stir it, you don't have to check it, you don't have to poke it and prod it and keep lifting the lid or anything. You just basically walk away and forget about it. It'll be done in 8 hours, and with a slow cooker, virtually impossible to overcook things unless you leave it there for like a week. So it's pretty good, that. Tori Diamond, you mentioned that you love The Walking Dead. Who is your favourite character, and which death were you most shocked or saddest about? When you were a kid, did you go Christmas light looking? have you watched the Christmas movie Elf? It's my favourite. Okay, I'm going to do a non-spoiler answer to The Walking Dead because I know there are a few people out there who probably haven't caught up to where I am. I would say probably there was a death of someone in the latest episode, the season sort of finale for this year, that was not entirely surprising, but I thought it was quite sad. I think most people know, like, who I'm talking about at the end of the episode. I thought it was sort of a little shocking. But then again, The Walking Dead seems to be going out of its way to kill so many characters at the moment. They're really starting to run out of people that the audience are connecting with because they keep murdering people. So, who knows? When I was a kid, did I go Christmas light looking? Not really, because when I was growing up, the whole Christmas light thing, at least where I lived, wasn't very common. Like, people would sort of put decorations up, but it was nothing like it is today. There just simply wasn't that kind of enthusiasm where I lived for it. I've never watched the Christmas movie Elf. I don't think I've watched it. I'm kind of not a big fan of Christmas movies because I find them very corny. And especially in the last few years, sort of Christmas has become a touchy subject for me ever since the incredibly bad, long-ending sort of 5 songs over and over again melting my brain incident, which, by the way, one of them was a techno remix disco type thing of Blondie singing Jingle Bell Rock. Just let that soak into your brain for a minute. Imagine being forced to listen to that every 20 minutes or so for 12 hours. That's a form of psychological torture. So yeah, no, I haven't seen Elf, so there we go. What was the next question from Gloria Knack? I live in the US. Christmas here is during the winter. Many traditions of Christmas revolve around winter. What is celebrating Christmas in summer reflected in Australian holiday traditions? What are your favourite holiday foods? I love your videos. Thank you for being so delightful. Oh, thank you. Well, I think I touched on that before with Christmas obviously being in the height of summer here. A lot of the traditional Christmas things like snowmen, snow and all that sort of stuff obviously doesn't apply. Basically, Australians have a very relaxed Christmas most of the time. It's usually just a family gathering. We're sort of trying to escape the heat, so is usually involved in an air conditioner or fans of some description. In most families, backyard cricket is definitely the order of the day after lunch. So go out into the backyard, play cricket with family and extended family and friends. Some people, as I say, like to spend their Christmas down at the beach. They'll go and have a picnic lunch type thing. There's so many different sort of little things like that. Yeah, basically that's it. Seafood is often a big part of many Australians' Christmases. You should see when you go to the supermarket this time of year and people are going to collect their Christmas orders the last day or so before Christmas. You'll have people getting these huge, huge orders of things like prawns or shrimp. You'll get all sorts of different sort of oysters and that sort of stuff, and they're just buying them by the bucket load. It's astonishing, and that's basically what it is because we live by the sea, it's hot, we want something cold for lunch, and that's how it goes. So yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing this year. We're going to be having our cool lunch. We're going to be having cold meats and salad and all that sort of stuff. We're going to have a nice hot Christmas pudding afterwards, which personally most people don't have because it's too hot to have a hot pudding, but you know what, I'm a stickler for tradition, so let's see. What are your favourite holiday foods? That's right. Well, definitely in my family, I actually did a recipe for it on the cooking channel recently. It was Dad's sausage loaf. It is one of my highlights at Christmas. I absolutely love it. It's this sausage mince that's been formed into a log, which has been lightly seasoned with herbs and spices, covered in breadcrumbs and baked and roasted until it's nice sort of brown, solid sort of meatloaf-style log. It's cut up into slices and served cold. I love it with a bit of cranberry sauce. I love it with gravy. Absolutely gorgeous. I love it every year at Christmas. Of course, I love my Christmas pudding. One of my Christmas traditions is something that Mum used to do. She's Scottish, so she used to love having her fried Christmas pudding. Now, I'm not talking about covering it in batter and deep frying it or anything, which I know is very Scottish, but she used to pan fry slices of the leftover Christmas pudding in a little bit of butter until it was nice and crisp on the outside, and have that for breakfast the next day, oddly enough, and it's absolutely divine. If you've never had fried Christmas pudding after Christmas, you have to do it. You just try it once and you will be converted. It is crisp on the outside and soft and gooey on the inside. It's gorgeous. Yeah, I think that's probably my favourite holiday foods. Probably, yeah. Gibbelow 4. My question is, what is your best memory with your family during Christmas? And in Walking Dead, what was your favourite scene? Well, Walking Dead, I would probably say... Oh, goodness. Probably when they went to the prison for the first time, and Rick with the machete, and just going through that guy's head. Because it was just sort of like such a transition for his character. He'd gone from being sort of like almost the voice of reason to, you know what, not putting up with your shit anymore. Whack. So that was probably my favourite scene. As for Christmas, which is a very odd sort of dynamic between going from sort of murdering zombie show to Christmas joy, we've got all sorts happening in this episode. My question is, what is your favourite memory of your family during Christmas? Well, I've spent pretty much every Christmas with my family, and they're always a lot of fun. Probably back in the days when, obviously, my mother was still alive, her tradition was she would always have a bit of champagne with her Christmas lunch. My mother, however, was a flouncing lightweight, so it would not take more than about a glass and a half of champagne and she would be tap dancing on the table. Not literally, but figuratively. However, there are rumours that she has in fact danced on tables at times, which was strongly denied by my mother for a long time. But she was always fun. Once she'd had a few sort of champagnes in her, she'd be there sort of starting out with Christmas carols, oddly enough, and then sort of moving on to Shirley Bassey. And frankly, Christmas just doesn't seem like Christmas anymore without my mother sitting in the corner with a glass of champagne in one hand singing, "Hey, big spender." But anyway... Oh, I miss those days. But yeah, that would be my treasured memory. I know it's a little odd, but I think we all have little odd things about our sort of families and our Christmases, and so no matter how they might seem to the outside world, they are fun nonetheless to us, and that's the point. Let's see. Next one is, what do you want for Christmas, from Jay Davies? What do I want for Christmas? I want it to be over! The sooner it's over, the sooner I can get back to normal cooking videos, because I like sort of Christmas cuisine. Unfortunately, it just doesn't lend itself very well to my sort of format of videos on YouTube, so I find myself sort of wanting to do all the traditional Christmas trimming type things in videos, but I know people won't watch it because it's not covered in chocolate. So I find myself doing all these sort of novelty Christmas things at Christmas, which are always fun, but they're very hard to do in extreme heat in summer. So anything with melting chocolate or making cookie dough is an absolute bugger to make, especially when it's nearly 40 degrees Celsius. Lovely. So yeah, so it'll be fun to get back to my normal routine and get back to sort of doing stuff that's a bit easier to do when it's not like searing hot like this. So I'll be glad when sort of that's when it goes on. Zixel Media. You occasionally receive comments in videos that have really obvious answers or questions that are a bit weird. Do you remember any questions that were particularly stupid or obvious or a bit weird? I get them all the time, and I think it comes with a cooking channel. You will always get sort of the oddball questions now and again, or questions that are insanely obvious. The ones that sort of... I don't think it really irritates me or anything like that, but I just find it astonishing that someone will type a comment on a YouTube video about how much is this in whatever conversion or whatever, rather than just typing the exact same thing into Google and getting the answer immediately. They'll type it onto my video and wait God knows how long for me to answer it. So it just seems really peculiar. But then there are other things, like I've made ice cream videos, and the number of people are going, do I have to use cream? And I'm there going, well, it is ice cream, so yes, you do need to use cream for this particular recipe, because if you use anything else, it wouldn't be ice cream. And so, yeah, I know there are other types of ice cream that aren't made with cream, but when you're actually being shown how to make ice cream with cream, it seems odd that you would ask if you can do it with something other than cream. Like, it just seems really peculiar. But maybe that's just me. But as I said, you get these obvious questions, but then again, if you don't ask questions, you don't learn. And so I have no objection to funny or weird questions, because in the end, it's just people wanting to know the answer to something, and I'm quite happy with that. Harry Draco Girl 1989. Let's see. What kind of foods do you prefer for Christmas? Either traditional roast meats, pies and puddings, or Aussie barbecue, prawns, sausages and salads? Kind of covered this. I like a mixture of both, to be honest. I like the traditional meats, and I like sort of things like fruit mince pies and puddings and stuff, but I also like having salads and barbecue and seafood and stuff like that. So we do a bit of a mishmash of the both, and I think it works pretty well. I'm quite happy with it. Next question. The Chunky Chunga. What's your favourite salad dressing? Probably Caesar. I love Caesar salad, and I love that dressing. It's tangy, and it's got that sort of twang to it. I don't know how to describe it, but I absolutely love it, and I could put it on ice cream, which is probably not normal. Tony Amato. Let's see. We've already covered that. We're asking about sort of what's the food like here. Most people here have ham or turkey. New Year's Day is always pork and sauerkraut. What about yours? Merry Christmas and have a happy New Year to you. Let's see. Well, ham and turkey is sort of similar things for Christmas. We don't have anything traditional for New Year's Day, because New Year's Day is generally spent in a hangover, to be honest, but we don't generally have an actual celebration or food-related celebration for New Year's. Pork and sauerkraut. Sounds good. I like that. So would it be like roast pork, or would it be like a pork sort of mixture type thing, like a sausage, or... I don't care. That sounds good anyway. I think it would be wonderful no matter what it is. And sauerkraut, I've always sort of been resistant to sauerkraut, but I recently have sort of got into it. I sort of... This lovely sort of German-Austrian restaurant opened up recently, and I've been getting exposed to sauerkraut, and I'm really starting to enjoy it. So, yeah. Chili Gamer. Hello, Chili. I love your show in every episode. I discover that we have so much in common. You're a really great inspiration and personality. People like you give me faith in humanity. Anyway, my questions are... Thank you very much. My questions are, what's your favourite weird flavour combination? Are you attending VidCon 2014? Because I'd love to meet you. Keep on being awesome, David. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, weirdest flavour combination. See, it's weird because, like, culturally, Australians and, say, Americans have very different tastes. And up until a couple of years ago, the idea of mixing things like, say, chocolate and peanut butter was a completely alien concept for me. I had never seen it. I had never heard of it. I'd certainly never tried it. And I'd never thought of the idea could even be done until I discovered the American candy Reese's. And I was absolutely blown away. It was one of those things that just sort of like... It's just one of those weird things that you would never have considered would work together, but it does, and it's fantastic. There's a lot of things like that, but that was the one that really stuck in my mind, was that just sort of like... It's like a eureka moment. It's sort of like, wow, like, why did I never think of doing this before? Like, because it just doesn't exist in Australia. The idea of combining those two particular things was just completely psychotic. It was like, oh, okay, I'm going to start keeping celery up my nose, because, like, that's a completely random thing to do. And exactly, so that was basically what it was. As for VidCon, probably not. I would love to come over to VidCon. Unfortunately, it's going to cost a fortune to go over to VidCon, because flights and accommodation and all that sort of stuff to go all the way over there, it's a lot of money, and I don't think I'm going to be able to swing it. It's something I think I might have to save up for a few years to do, because it's not something that I can just sort of go over and do, because, like, flights from Australia are insanely expensive, and with my physical health at the moment, I would probably not be able to go economy or coach. I would actually probably have to go, for comfort reasons, for basic necessity, I'd probably have to go one of the higher classes, like business class or something, and that costs a lot of money. So, yeah, so probably not something that will happen this year. It may happen in a few years' time. I would love to go over there, because I've seen videos from VidCon and it always looks like a lot of fun. So it would be great to go over and check it out. Lola Liz, what is your favourite quality in your partner? What do you like best about his look and or personality? Oh, God, I'm going to give him a big head when he watches this. I suppose my favourite quality in Brian would be that he is probably the most generous person I know. If someone asks him for help, no matter what he's doing, doesn't matter if it's inconvenient, he will do everything he can to help that person. If somebody needs some money or they need something fixed at their house or whatever, he'll drop everything and go over and do it immediately, and he has absolutely no sort of second guessing about it. Sort of like, they need help, I'll be there, no problem. And that's probably one of the best qualities about him, because there just aren't a lot of people in the world who are genuinely so willing to sort of just give themselves to other people when required. They are willing to sort of go, you know what, this person is having a hard time at the moment and they need a little bit of help. I'm quite happy to do whatever I can do to just make their life a little bit better. And I think that is probably my favourite quality in Brian. As for his personality, he has one of the most bizarre personalities I've ever met, because he's a generous, kind person, but he also has a demented sense of humour, much like myself. And he has a strange thing about laughing at people who've hurt themselves. And it's particularly himself, because you know he's actually sort of accidentally hurt himself really badly, because he'll then sort of on the floor laughing like a maniac, absolutely tears running down his face because he stubbed his toe, which mentally is probably not a good psychological issue, but there you go. I mean, you got to admit, I'd rather him lying there laughing his brains out over kicking the cat or something accidentally and breaking his foot. I think that's never actually happened. But yeah, I'd rather him laughing at than sort of like in tears, crying and screaming and going, oh, the agony, the agony, the agony. So I can probably live with that one. Laurie Hart. Is there a certain thing that you do for Christmas that you do just for your mum? When I make fudge every year, I always toss in an extra handful of pecans because Mum used to sneak in behind me and throw in extra. It makes me smile and think of her. I always have a couple of glasses of champagne at Christmas for Mum. And should I start singing Shirley Bassey or dancing on a tabletop, then that's for Mum as well. Oh no. Yeah, wouldn't be Christmas without somebody getting a bit bizarre. Astronixos, why don't you practice coffee time questions beforehand? Good question. Long story short is, I actually kind of do, but I don't. What I do is, I will wait just shortly before I'm due to record the coffee time video, and I'll quickly go through the comments section and I'll remove anything that's not a question or anything that's inappropriate, and then I'll just quickly run through them in my head, each question, and have a quick think about an answer, and then I'll quickly record it. It makes things easier because it gives a bit of a flow, so I'm not literally sitting there going, like this between every single question, because like otherwise the video goes for like, I don't know, a fortnight. So I do that, but actually scripting coffee time or rehearsing it beforehand, I think it kind of takes away something from the format itself, because it's meant to be a bit spontaneous. It's meant to have a bit of an off-the-cuff sort of feel to it, and frankly, I don't have time to rehearse. It at least takes so long to record and to edit and do as it is anyway. I could imagine trying to do rehearsals and stuff beforehand anyway. So that would be the reason, is it's off the cuff, is that it's quicker, it's easier, and I think it comes out better that way. Rebecca Beck. Do you put up Christmas decorations? If so, when? We usually put the tree up the week before Christmas, but friends of mine decorate the whole house on the 1st of December. I personally love putting it up, but hate taking it down. I haven't done Christmas decorations for a best part of a decade. I did the first couple of years I moved out of home with my partner, but I got to be honest, it was a pain in the ass, and we really neither one of us was particularly fussed on doing it. So we don't really do it anymore. We don't have a Christmas tree. We don't really put up lights or anything like that, because neither one of us are really that Christmassy as it is. And if we were holding a Christmas party at our house or something, we'd probably consider it, but we don't generally do that. So, so not really doing it anymore. But I agree with you. Putting it up is fun. Taking it down is an absolute nightmare, particularly if you fill your tree with 10 tons of stuff. You could be there for hours trying to remove every bloody ornament. I used to hate that with a vengeance. Aspring M. Where I live, supermarkets start to sell Christmas cookies, gingerbread at the end of August. In my opinion, it's way too early. It's still summer here in Europe at that time. Is it similar to shops in Australia? If yes, what's your opinion on that? Well, we covered that one a little bit before, didn't we? I personally think it's insane. I think it's completely unnecessary to have hot cross buns for Easter in the shops on Boxing Day, the day after Christmas. I think that's crazy, and it's been happening the last couple of years. I think Christmas stuff being available from August is a little unnecessary as well, especially food type things. When it comes to, say, decorations and stuff, like, I suppose if you're planning on doing a really big Christmas thing and being able to sort of buy stuff in advance a little bit at a time up until Christmas would be helpful, but I question if having like fresh type stuff, like freshly baked Christmas cookies in August in the bakery department of the supermarket, just seems a little ridiculous, especially if they're not going to last until Christmas. They're things to be like eaten within a few days. So I think it's a bit bizarre. I'm not fussed on it. Ninja Dude 1021. New York style pizza or Chicago style pizza? I don't know what the difference is, because I've never had either, to be honest. I can honestly say I've never had either, because we don't really have New York style pizza and Chicago style pizza as far as I know here in Australia, so I don't know what the difference is. So I'm hesitating to guess, to be honest, but I don't know. So I can't say I'm an expert on New York and Chicago pizzas, so I'll just have to sort of agree that they are both, in many ways, pizza. There you go. That was a very non-committal answer. Oh, Jessica Perry, quickly save me. Love your channel. My roommates love that I watch it. They love taste testing. I wonder, would it be all right if I did a little musical intro for the Coffee Time vlogs? We touched on this before. I've actually had people not necessarily offer, they actually just send me sort of saying, oh, I wrote this music for you and blah, blah, blah. I can't really use them. Most of the time is that there's sort of copyright issues. Now, whether I get permission from you to actually use it or not, it can change in the future, and if that's the case, it means I have to remove the video from YouTube later down the track, and it's a lot of complicated work to try and sort of keep track of which videos use what music and stuff, so that's why I tend to sort of use the same music over and over for pretty much all of my videos, and that way I know they're not going to become issues in the future or anything like that. But that being said, I kind of like the Coffee Time intro. I think it's just sort of stupid, and I like that, and I like the new version of it. I want to see how many people get the reference. I don't think many people will, but it's fun. Next question. Matthew Gray. I love peanut butter. Can you recommend something to make with the prime ingredient being peanut butter? Have you tried the peanut butter ice cream pie on my cooking channel? That is fabulous. It's so simple to make. It's basically bought ice cream mixed together with peanut butter in a mixer until it's all lovely and smooth, poured into a pie crust and frozen and served. It's gorgeous. It's so, so yummy. I've got some peanut butter cookies on the channel as well. They're only 3 ingredients and they are quick to make. You just basically mix it together, bake them. They are so, so yummy and they're so, so moreish. So if you like your peanut butter, you'll love those too. Gadgets Forever. What are your thoughts on the channel Cooking with Dog? I've heard of it, but I've never actually watched it. It's funny because they're actually on the Tastemade Network, which is my network partner, but YouTube network. So I keep meaning to watch them, but yeah, I've never actually seen Cooking with Dog. I understand there's like a little dog hosting the show, so I must sit down and watch it sometime. Jam and Dawn. Do you believe in paranormal stuff? Not really. I'm sure there are a lot of things in this world that are beyond my comprehension, but I don't think it includes things like ghosts and ghoulies and long-legged thingies. I'm not quite sure why I said that. Paranormal stuff, I don't think it's, I don't think I believe in it. Like, I could be wrong. If the Headless Horseman walks in when I'm sleeping, then I will certainly change my mind, but I don't think it's something that I believe in. Alicia Tan. Do you like lattes or do you think they're too milky? What is your opinion on strong women? What is your lifelong dream and has it been fulfilled yet? Are you content with your life right now? Ooh, that's a lot of questions. Do you like lattes or do you think they're too milky? I love lattes. I drink lattes quite a bit. But I also like sort of strong non-milky coffees as well. So like I'm sort of all over the place there. What is your opinion of strong women? I approve. I don't know. I don't think I could answer that question in any other way because, like, I'd be torn apart for saying anything else, wouldn't I? It's like, I advocate the extermination of all strong women. I did not just say that. Please don't write in. I wasn't being serious. No problem with strong women. What is your lifelong dream and has it been fulfilled yet? I'm not sure I've had any lifelong dreams. I don't know. I've just sort of muddled through and got where I am today. I am pretty content with my life, though. I'm doing something that I enjoy. I work for myself. I've got wonderful lover in my life. I have a lovely home. I've got reasonable health altogether. That being said, yeah, I'm pretty content with my life. I'm happy with where I am, and bloody cicadas are back now. Good grief. We've got a cicada invasion as well, so on top of the cockatoos, we've got cicadas everywhere making noise, so it's a conspiracy to stop me from making videos, I'm certain of it. Pardon me. Card Trick Kid. Have you seen the film Evil Dead 2? If you're not, you should check it out. It's hilarious. I did see one of the Evil Dead movies when I was a kid, years and years ago, but I can't remember which one it was. I think it may have been Army of Darkness. I can't remember. A vague recollection it was Army of Darkness, but yeah, that was fun, but I haven't seen the other ones, and it's been so many years I've completely forgotten about the Evil Dead movies, to be honest, so might look them up and get back and see if it's still as funny as I remember them to be. Esoteric Ed. I just awoke from a rather nice dream including you and melted chocolate. That's not a question, but thank you for sharing. Well, I can honestly say I'm happy to have been of service. Please send pictures. Next question. Weedy rag. Oh my god, these coffee time videos are a scream. Merry Christmas from the States. Please tell us some traditions you have Australia for the holidays, and your life is wonderful. Oh, okay, we've already covered those ones. I think we've covered Australia and Christmas pretty much. Unless, like, yeah, I feel like sort of making stuff up now. Sort of like, yes, we all sort of sit around a flaming kangaroo and roasting koalas. We're coming to the end soon, so don't worry. The silliness is due to pass. Big Maud 31. David, are you a trained chef or are you a talented person who likes to cook? What do you do for a living now? Each country or region has foods that are identified with them. Is there a dish that is specific to Australia that we can get the ingredients for in our own areas that you can teach us? California is not the place to get good iced tea. You have to be in the South. Oh, okay. P.S. I watched a few of Nico's videos and you have a better voice. Thank you. I will enjoy relaying that to Rob. We're good friends, it's okay, I'm allowed to tease him. I'm allowed to send him pictures of quinoa as well, saying, yeah, he's keen for quinoa. That's a really odd joke that doesn't make sense unless I feel like spending 20 minutes explaining it, and I'm not going to bother. Where were we? Are you a trained chef? No, well, I'm not a formally trained chef. I've worked as a short order chef in many restaurants, and I've been cooking pretty much my entire life, so I'm sort of an untrained professional, I like to put it. What do I do for a living? You're watching it. I actually make YouTube videos as my full-time job now. I've been doing so for nearly 3 years, and I'm doing quite well with it, to be honest. There are a lot of Australian dishes, but I'm not sure... I'm just trying to think. There are a lot of Australian dishes that you can make overseas, and I've done quite a few of them on the cooking channel. But unfortunately, Australia is a funny sort of country where we're a bit of a mishmash of cultures, and so we don't have a lot of natively Australian food. We have a lot of Australian versions of international food. We have a very strong Southeast Asian influence with our food, particularly we have a lot of influence from places like, say, Thailand and all of that sort of area there. A lot of people love that kind of food in Australia, and Thai cuisine and Malaysian cuisine have become very popular in Australia. But then you've also got the European influences. You've got things like from British settlers, you've got people from Europe, you've got Americans coming over as well, you've got people from the other side of Asia as well who come to live in Australia, because we are a very multicultural society. So often we use ingredients that are quite commonly available in other countries, but then there are also recipes that they're pretty common in other countries as well. So we have a kind of a weird identity. So we have a few uniquely Australian things, but then, yeah, I've probably done a lot of them already, so just a matter of going through the playlists and looking for things you don't recognise. California is not the place to get good iced tea. You have to be in the South. Well, I remember that, yeah, the iced tea wasn't great where I had it. Yeah, iced tea should come cold, sweetened with a slice of lemon. Ooh, that does sound nice, especially right now because it is stinking hot at the moment. Next question, Naruto Uzumaki. If so, who's your favourite character from The Walking Dead? Oh, okay. Who's your favourite character from The Walking Dead, and can you make a rainbow steak? I love rainbow steak. I have tried to replicate the rainbow steak that I get from the local Chinese restaurant. It is the most beautiful rainbow steak I've ever eaten in my life. If you don't know what rainbow steak is, it's beef strips that have been lightly battered and fried, and it's got this amazing sauce on it that's sort of kind of like a plum sauce, but it's got other things in it as well. It's got rose water and a few other bits and bobs. It is absolutely stunning, and it is quite unlike any type of rainbow steak I've tried at any other restaurant. And I've tried to get their recipe for it, and they are very, very hard against the idea of sharing their recipe. So I'm almost getting ready to order some of it and send it to the CSIRO for testing to find out what the hell's in it. I would love to try and find a way to make that, but if not, I will just have to sort of improvise and see how I can come up with it. Favourite character on The Walking Dead? I don't know. I quite like Rick. I think his character's sort of probably the most believable of everyone, because he's going through a transition and change, going up and down, and I think that's probably the most uniquely human thing about him, where many of the other characters are a little bit sort of wooden and one-dimensional, and I definitely like how he's gone from being one type of man to another as the seasons progress, because his circumstances keep changing and he's trying to cope with it. So that would be my answer. Rest Your Mind. Recently discovered your channel and fell instantly in love. Oh, thank you. My question is, what kind of bread do you usually eat and what's your favourite? I live in Germany and we have all kinds of wonderful whole wheat bread variations. When I was in Sydney about 12 years ago, I was not very happy with all the white bread. Did it change? There are all sorts of types of bread. Again, multiculturally, we get bread from all over the world here now, or different styles of bread, and it's all baked here, obviously. But white bread is definitely a common bread in Australia. It's probably the most common. It's what most people eat. But over the years, especially the last decade or so, there have been huge changes in bread. Lots of seeds and additives and things all added to them to make these sort of new amazing variations of bread that are just absolutely astonishing, some of them. So definitely, if you're coming back, you're going to find more bread, I promise you. What was the other question? Was there another question there, or was it just about the bread? No, it's just the bread, okay. We're up to our last question from Wheaty123456. What is the funniest moment you have had in your life? Goodness, I don't know, to be honest. I think I've had such a wonderful life that the one thing is that if you could honestly look back on my entire life, the one thing that shines out above everything else is that my life has always been filled with laughter. And I think it's because I've always surrounded myself with people who always have a great sense of humour. I have a tradition with my friends on Boxing Day. We all go to a friend's house and we have lunch and we have a few drinks, and it almost always degenerates into an incredibly immature giggle fit where we just start talking absolute bollocks and laughing ourselves absolutely crazy. And if I had a favourite funny moment in life, it would almost certainly be one of those Boxing Days. I treasure them, and we have them every year, and it's always a lot of fun. It's like a second Christmas, and the laughter is always there. Well, that brings us to the end of Coffee Time for 2013. So, wow, we are officially done. So, Merry Christmas to you guys. Lots of love to you all. I will see you in the new year with more videos on both the cooking channel and here on the OnePotChefBlog. We're including more coffee time, more taste tests, and all sorts of other things in between. So, stay safe, keep out of trouble, have a great holiday period, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.